Oh, What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Dead Funny Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Joining me today, my co-hosts, Kelsey, Mandy, and Cody. And I said that weird because I noticed that I still have my fucking headphone mic in, and it's in the way of my beautiful face, while I have this deluxe mic right here that captures all of my audio. So, good to go.
Hang on.
It's detachable. The one in my fucking
You're telling me
headset is
that
detachable.
microphone captures all of your audio, not just some of your audio, like it doesn't capture 50% of your audio?
Just fuck off. All right. Just
Do you
go fuck
remember-
yourself, Cody.
Do you remember when we did the interview for this and you asked me to describe what my online personality was and I said impish?
You should have just said being a dick, and that would have made
That's
more
what
sense.
Same
impish
thing.
means.
I mean, maybe.
Yes.
yeah. I am trying to get this mic like closer to my, because I noticed during our review show I was a tad bit quieter. I'm trying to
Gotcha.
get
It's
this...
awesome for us because we can't see your face.
I know.
No, but all I can hear is this like ding dang sound of the you
Yeah,
moving
people
the
are
mic
gonna
around.
hate
It's
me.
kinda
That's
fun.
fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Well, there's this
I love you
magical
too,
thing
viewers.
called editing.
Yeah, there's also this thing called lazy. Just kidding. Like, content is content, man. Okay, content is content.
Nope. That is not our motto. I
That
do
is our
not support
motto.
that.
That is definitely
No.
our motto.
No.
Get out. Take my shirt
No.
off. Content. Where's Dylan at when we need that? Dylan.
No. Dylan doesn't support this either.
Dylan. No.
I mean, don't speak for Dylan. You don't
Yeah.
know that.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
it's
confident
fucking
actually
rude.
about that one.
I think you would lose that bet. If I told Dylan it was okay for him to take his shirt off during content, I'm pretty sure he would.
Okay, now you're dangling a completely different argument. Like
That's how. That's the
the
same
carrot
thing.
of nudity is tempting to all of us, but not the point.
Wait,
Not
what?
right now.
I-
It's freezing down here.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know about that. I mean,
I wanted to
someone-
see how fast they would respond.
I was about to say.
actually.
I want to put more clothes on right now. Our basement is freezing.
Oh, really?
That fucking
Yeah.
does.
Oh,
So
no.
it's
You guys-
really-
Do you guys have
it's
concrete
all
floors?
around the heater.
I don't. Well, not in the game room down here. We've got
Carpet.
carpet,
Okay.
But
There's
I don't
probably
know.
concrete underneath, huh?
Probably, yeah. But it's just
think it's
been. I mean, I've
cool.
been down here like all day doing editing when Graham's been letting me, and it's just been cold all day. So it's
Oh.
just gross.
I hate
Just
those days where you go ahead, Mandy. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Shoot,
I just thought
finish.
it was gross.
I hate those days where you just keep trying to stay warm and you can't for whatever reason. So you've got like warm clothes on, you've got socks, and then you've got the big fuzzy socks on top of it. You're in sweats, you're in a jacket, you're in a blanket, you're inside, and you're like, why am I still cold? Drives me crazy.
So occasionally I record with a friend down here, and I'm like one of those
I
people.
call bullshit. There's no way Cody has friends. Anyways, continue.
Well, technically they're like on the other like group that I do recording for, so it's like, you know, we're settled to the same thing, so she has to record with me.
Yeah.
And also Mandy records with her husband, so it's like, well, both of us have nothing to do. But anyways, I'm like one of those people that loves it when it's cold. I am most comfortable at like 50 degrees, you know?
Mhm.
And so, like, she came over, we were in our basement, I was hot, and I opened the window, and this was like a month ago, you know?
Uh-huh.
And she was playing the game, so she had like a blanket on with just her hands out on the keyboard, and she was like, my hands are so cold, and I'm like wearing just like a t-shirt, and I'm like, this is nice, I'm comfy. And she's like, why are you like this? I don't know. I'm just always like, enjoy the cold.
That's funny.
I used to, and then I lost a bunch of weight, and then they like cold started basically like came at me personally, and
That
I'm like,
does make a
this is
difference.
terrible. And now if I stop moving, I start freezing. So I have like 8 blankets I sleep under, and my husband's like, I can't even like. There's just this gigantic lump where you sleep, and I'm like,
know-
it's because I'm so cold.
Wouldn't
That's funny.
I understand what you're saying?
Uh huh.
Wouldn't that not make sense? Because wouldn't being like more fit make your circulation better? I've always thought it was like bad circulation that makes like your fingertips cold and stuff.
What I think it is actually cardiac health. The more fit you are, the less your heart beats, so your heart beats lower and lower and lower. And then since it's not circulating the blood as quickly, it gets out to your extremities, and then just on my long ass thin arms, by the time it gets here, it's freezing cold, and then it just goes back into my body and cools me off.
That makes sense.
So I think it's that.
I think we should throw more pseudoscience at this. I've heard
No,
things.
definitely. Yes. I heard somebody say it once, so clearly I'm an expert. That's how this works.
Right? I do think some of it for me is being accustomed, because like growing up, I spent a lot of time outside in the snow, sitting still. Cause I don't know, I just like, you ever just like kind of realize you have some weird experiences from growing up?
Were you being like dramatic and contemplative or what?
No, it was like my dad was like, we're gonna go hunting. So then, you go and sit in a tree
Yeah,
or by a
totally.
tree alone in the snow. And he's like, be back in an hour. And I'm just like,
He probably went to a bar in that time. It was just like, all right, this is top-notch parenting. If a bear doesn't eat him, he deserves
Did
it.
I ever tell you about the time we pulled a boat out of a river?
Oh my gosh.
What? No.
Yeah, so there's salvage laws, right, with boating. So a way that you can actually make money is dumb people run four-wheelers out onto Lake Michigan, or like snowmobiles, and then when the ice breaks, sometimes they get stuck out there, and you can salvage those. And the way salvage works is if you find a salvaged vehicle like that, and you risk life and limb to get it, you can charge people for that, and they have to pay you,
yours.
or it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's rules about that. Anyways, this boat was not worth it. But so what happened was I had a day off school. This was in February, and this was in an area where February is garbage. And so my dad was like, well, we're going to go boating today. So it's like 30 degrees. The river is frozen halfway, and it is flooded. So it's rapiding from fields back into the river.
Oh boy.
Over ice. We couldn't launch the boat. The ramp was a sheet of ice. There was no ramp down. It was just a shelf of ice. So we backed the trailer out onto a sheet of ice, then just shoved the boat off into the water.
Oh, God.
So then we climb in it, and we're running down the river, right? Or up the river, I guess. I think we floated back down. And I'm sitting in the front of the boat, just like flying up the river. And all of a sudden, we're just like, there's a freaking boat over there. And so there was a tree that had fallen, which happens frequently, and there was a boat just sunk underneath the tree with just like a foot of the boat sticking out. So we come around and we tie our boat off. My dad has to like climb out onto this tree, get up onto an island where there's water rushing around it.
I love watching Mandy's face while you're telling the story. She's just like, fucking idiots. They all could have died.
I've heard this story too a million times, and it's just like, you guys, no, we're not doing this.
So anyways, we hook a rope up onto the front of it, and me and my brother are like there with axes and hatchets trying to cut branches off as my dad's yanking the boat out of the river. So we pull this boat out, and then we just tow it back, and it's like, well, it's ours now.
Oh my gosh. Did you ever use this boat?
Yeah. We had an extra motor, and it was a piece of junk. It was like a tiny little fiberglass boat, but we, put a motor on it and, ran it around lakes and stuff. It's fun.
See, what I want to know is whether or not the person that lost it, like, came back in the spring, like, all right, let's do this. Like, who the hell stole my boat?
Well, so boats, like, on the Kankakee, that was the river we were on. People have, just like if you have a house in the Kankakee, people just put their boat in the water and like tie it to a tree, right? So when a flood comes through, it'll just knock all those boats down the river if they're not tied off properly. So this thing could have come from miles upstream, and just when it got hit with all that rain, it just got floated off and then sunk eventually, But yeah, that was a fun one.
Is that the right word? Is fun the right word?
I mean, it's interesting, right? Like that's just not like a story that everyone has done.
That's true.
I think it's a valuable part of my upbringing.
Aha. This feels like we're slapdashing a little bit on the back end, but okay.
Yeah. I've been in a boat that sunk before.
Heard that story too.
Hey, these are solid stories, man. Don't hate my story.
It's just your childhood was very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, we bought a boat and forgot to put the plug in it. Because a lot
Nice.
of boats have plugs, so if they fill with water, you can pull the plug and drain the boat out. We didn't put that plug in, so we just went out onto a lake and it was just like, bunk, and it hit the bottom. Now the lake was shallower than the boat was, so it was fine. But then me and my brother had to get out of the boat and like up to our necks in water, pull the boat back into shore,
Oh
just
my
with
God.
ropes. Just imagine these two pudgy little Midwestern kids just like dragging a boat back across the lake. Good times.
God, Cody. It's such a unique childhood experience.
That was a good one. That was a good
Oh,
one.
God.
So dumb.
Have you guys seen this draw 25 cards Uno meme that's been going around
Yes.
everywhere?
Yes.
So I saw this one for anime, and it's pretty fucking good.
How does this relate to boats?
Well, it
It's
got
not.
really, it got
Change
awkwardly
the
quiet,
subject.
so I went for
We're
a
changing
transition.
Subject.
Yeah.
No, I want to talk about boats more.
I
No.
waited a second and it got quiet, so then I transitioned. That's how that works.
So then
here.
you went to Uno cards. I get it. It's fine.
Well, it was what I wanted to talk about earlier, and I completely forgot about it. So, some of these won't resonate with you. Some of them will. But the first one I saw that cracked me the fuck up, it was like, what, 5 of them? Yeah. Was, it shows the character, and it's Goku, and it's like, spend some time with your family, or draw 25 cards, and I was like, that's so cool. For the people who watch Dragon Ball Z. Another one for, I don't know if you guys watch Attack on Titan or not, but it shows fucking, I can't remember the fucking main character's name, but just like, go tell Mikasa you love her, or draw 25 cards. The best one that you guys will get, or at least Kelsey, it shows Saitama, and it's like, grow a full head of hair, or draw 25 cards, and it just looks so fucking mad. It's so
Who
fucking
is
funny.
Sayatama?
It's the guy from One Punch
One
Man.
Punch Man. It's really good. We love it.
Oh, do you want to know my super lazy reason why I have never watched Punch Man?
Mm.
It's not
Yes?
dubbed. It's not dubbed, and I don't like
It
subbed
is.
anime.
It is actually the first season that's on Netflix is dubbed.
Is it now?
Yeah.
Woo! I'm gonna
You
watch
would
One
love
Punch
it.
Man.
Go watch it. You would genuinely like it.
No,
Either
I
on
want
Netflix
to.
or Hulu, either one. It was one of
Well,
those.
if it's
I believe it's
Hulu,
on Netflix.
I don't have Hulu, so you know.
Yeah, I think it's on
A
Netflix
lot
too.
more my sisters.
Yeah, we have to get her account.
Yeah.
We don't steal accounts.
Because I know
No,
for a
that's never
fact
happened.
season 1 is dubbed for sure. So that is another good one.
I'm shocked it wasn't sooner because that was like wildly popular years ago, and when I tried to watch it, it was only subbed on.
I kind of vaguely remember it being on like Toonami at like 11 or midnight.
Yeah, I think
And so like I would be surprised if at least one season wasn't dubbed.
Yeah, they haven't done the second season yet because I got somebody that I'm about to start having them watch One Punch Man as well. But yeah, it's pretty fucking. Oh, it's such a good anime because it starts off as a joke anime. It's supposed to make fun of other animes, and then it was like one of those. I don't know if you guys ever watched like High School of the Dead or not. So that anime started off as like a hentai porn, and then the guys showed it.
Oh.
to-
Chris, neither one of us should be admitting that we've seen that anime.
Dude, no, that anime is like one of the top fucking animes. So
I
I'm
was
completely fine
sitting
with
here.
that.
You just mentioned it, and I was like, I feel like I've heard that before.
It
Why
is
does that sound
very
familiar?
well received.
Like, because
one.
it's weird.
Yeah.
Because
It's
So-
not weird. It started out as porn.
Yeah, it literally started out as porn, and it was like the guy's best friend was like, "Yeah, I'll watch it," and he watched it. He's like, if you covered up a lot of the nudity, you actually have a pretty fucking good story here. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I actually am more interested in the story than I am the naked characters.
I actually
So
don't.
you should try and
want
do that.
off to this. I want to pay attention.
Yeah. So he did, and it was a great fucking anime. It was really fucking good. There
I
was,
don't know if I would say that.
I mean,
It's
bro.
still
Go to some anime message boards, dude. High School of the Dead is very high up there on like everybody's
popular
anime list.
is not the same thing as good. Like,
I completely agree with that statement.
I
let me
mean,
tell
I
you,
agree with the
there
statement,
was-
but I still think that anime it was fucking good. I still definitely think that anime was good.
It was-
I'll stay on that side of the field. Easily.
there was a reason why I watched all of it and didn't quit, but
Wasn't the storyline?
yeah.
He was like, they took all the fun parts out. Fuck.
Well, no, the thing is they didn't. And that was like the part where I'm like alone, just like on my computer watching this anime, and then they get to the part where they just all take a bath for 2 episodes, and I'm like, what am I watching? What has my life become? Such a sad creature I am. Sitting here like, I'm watching it for the plot.
So
Get
Oh,
soapy.
God.
So the thing that's actually become kind of fun for me with animes is like every anime's got its
Watching it for
pervy
the
character.
plot?
No, every anime's got its pervy character, right? Every anime does. It's not only one finding out who it is, which is actually pretty obvious every fucking time, but it's like the difference in perviness per anime. Like for instance, My Hero Academia has a character named Mineta. He is hardcore pervy. Everything that comes out of his mouth has to do with being pervy. Every single fucking thing. So then you go and watch something like Seven Deadly Sins where the main character is pervy and he's like hardcore pervy for like 3 episodes, and I felt like somebody's like, maybe we should dial it back a bit because we do want people to actually like the main character, and then it's nowhere near as bad. Like nowhere near as bad. And it's like no one kind of takes the place of that though. It's not like they gave a side character like, oh, you're just suddenly pervy now. Like no one took that place. So now it kind of feels weird because it's like now I'm watching an anime and I'm just waiting for somebody to grope
You're
somebody.
missing one of your
right?
cock.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
You're
God.
like, where did all the perviness go? Like it's not here anymore. It's fucking hilarious, dude.
I understand that is like an ever-present cliche. Like, I
for
mean,
sure.
Brock from Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Just a rolling pervert the whole show, and I'm like,
Is he?
Brock from yeah.
I apparently
His
didn't
whole
watch enough
character is
Pokemon.
every officer and nurse he sees. He's like, Nurse Joy, I'm in love with you.
Oh, all right.
And then so many people started
Okay.
jumping on that, and so then they tried to make him wholesome and give him like a family to take care of and shit like that, and make you fall in love with the pervert. And it was like, yeah, no.
Didn't he have like a bunch of brothers he was taking care of?
He did,
and
but then he just abandoned. Yeah,
It just-
and so then they
just
brought it
ditched
back
all
to like
out.
full circle. Yeah,
Oh God.
you know, it was like, fuck you kids, I'm done.
Yeah, right. They all look just like him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every single one of them, even the girls,
my God.
they all look the
Wow.
exact same. It was like just Brock, just with different shades of hair or different
Pokemon was a
different
weird-
styles of hair.
Pokemon was a weird show.
It's still a weird show.
Yeah.
I do try to do that where I go back and watch like shit that I watched while I was growing up. Some of those do not age well, man.
No,
Some of them
Pokemon
do
does not.
age
It's weird.
well at all. Oh my god.
It's a weird one.
There's only a couple. Cowboy Bebop. I don't know if you guys ever seen that one, but that was such a good anime, and that aged well. Like that. I
That's
can go
still
back and watch.
excellent,
It's
yeah.
so fucking good.
But that's
God
like
damn, it's so good.
at some point when you're like saying like Cowboy Bebop, it's like these are the animes that are held up to be the most excellent ever. You know, it's like, well, yeah, the best anime ever holds up still, you know. But then there are a lot. Even like going back and trying to watch something like Dragon Ball Z is pretty tough.
That's why you watch the
I
abridged
disagree,
version.
but yes.
Did
it
you
is
ever
good.
watch Tenchi Muyo?
Yes.
Oh, dude, don't
Yes,
ever
dude.
go back to that. Don't go
Yes,
back. That's a bridge you can't cross twice.
dude.
That is, you know, I remember when I heard the name of the genre and it like suddenly clicked what it was. And it's like a harem anime.
Oh
And that's-
God.
It's absolutely like 90% of animes. It's like a very large genre where you have one male character surrounded by women that are all for some reason obsessed with him.
Mhm.
God, I
And
hate
that is-
that cliche.
And that is Tenchi. And I watched like every episode growing up. Like
Gross.
I watched so much and I didn't even think about it. And then now I like go back and I'm like, the cast is his perverted dad and 700 women.
Well, it's actually kind
Oh.
of funny, like how much that stuff doesn't like resonate with you as a kid. Like,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it
no,
does.
none of it sticks.
Yeah, but it's like now whenever I went back and watched like Dragon Ball Z and shit like that, when I rewatched the series, this was like fucking a couple years ago. I decided to rewatch the series because fucking Super was coming out and all that fun stuff.
Oof.
And no, I had a great time. It was amazing. And
Oh.
but I never noticed how pervy Master Roshi was. Like I knew he
Oh,
was
yeah.
pervy, but like they have stuff where like he fucking sniffs panties, and then like his nose starts bleeding and shit. Or like whenever
Yeah.
he sees a chick he thinks is hot, his nose starts bleeding. I was like, God damn, dude! I did not pick up on any of this as a kid because you're just so innocent, you know. Like I just
Yeah.
remember being a little kid and then the bus pulling up to my bus stop, and me fleeing off the bus to run in and hear, now on this episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah,
Plop my ass right down on the fucking floor and watch that shit. Like, every fucking day, dude.
Well, I have a question for you then.
Hit me.
Why do you think they include?
And that's gonna
those
wrap it up for this
characters?
episode of the podcast. No,
Shut up! I hate you.
There's
Why
a
do you
real
think they
reason.
include those characters if it's not resonating with the kids? They're not necessarily that element of those characters. Why are they included if there's no value to them in the plot? Like,
There's
if it was
one-
valuable to the plot that they were creepy and pervy, you would have been made more aware of it. But most of these plots are like, save the world. They're not like, hey, let's get all the panties we can, like Pantsu Hunter. Most of them are not Pantsu Hunter.
There's one solid good reason for this.
Oh, I
Okay?
think I'm gonna have a different one. But
You
go ahead.
probably. There's two reasons. One solid. I haven't heard his yet. Maybe solid. I'm not sure, but we'll get there. So
Wow, you're giving him a lot of credit early in the game.
pervy character is usually the weakest character every time. It's usually always the weakest character. Some animes break that. Once again, like Seven Deadly Sins, main character is a little pervy. He's definitely not weak. Most characters are Master Roshi, Mineta. I probably think like three more. If you
Wait.
Master Roshi was weak, except for
Master-
whenever his 3 total episodes in Dragon Ball Z, where he decided to get like fucking 20 times steroids.
He's
muscles.
retired. He's a retired, most dangerous man in the world.
Yeah, they could easily get his shit packed at the
Yeah,
moment where we
okay.
see him as a pervert. We
This
don't
is a
see him
problem
as
of
a
Dragon
pervert
Ball.
in Dragon Ball
Okay.
whenever
wait,
he's
hang on.
younger.
When you say a weak character, do you mean like physically, or
like-
do you mean
Mm,
so not like his characteristic? They didn't know what to do with him, so just slap the.
It kind of actually more like that, actually. Yeah. Because
Okay.
I was going to say weak, but technically it's more like they really don't play too much of the plot. Like, if they were not in that scene, the plot would play out the exact same way.
Okay.
There would be no change. You
And
could
that's
literally
my point.
remove
Is I'm
it.
saying there's no
I know that's your
value
point.
in doing
I'm
that.
getting to where my point
Okay.
is.
Okay.
I got derailed. My point is that these are made for children and teens and young adults, but there are still the 50-year-olds that watch this and have sad, pathetic lives, not because they watch anime, because they just have sad, pathetic lives, and so they resonate with the pervert because that's all they have left. That's
Oh
all they
my
have
God,
left.
Chris!
So that's their idol. That's all they have left.
Nope, not comfortable with that analysis.
Look, I don't want to say Chris is wrong, but so Chris is wrong. But so it's a difference of culture and humor. Like the anime generally humor is way more pervy humor than what we
Mhm.
would consider normal in America.
Mhm.
Yes, I understand that.
But their humor is frequently a lot less slapsticky than ours is. Not that it isn't that sometimes, and not that our humor is never perverse,
Mm-hmm.
but like the equivalent of the Three Stooges is a lot more like accidental perv embarrassment than it is getting hit in the balls. Like, they don't have as many punched in the ball gags as they do like falling on a boob gags.
I
But
don't
that's
know.
just-
I don't know if I'd say that because usually the perv always gets slapped.
Well, he gets slapped, or it's like an
So it's kind
accident.
of like extra.
And it, like I said, it's not to say that one is completely devoid from the other.
Yeah.
It's just like what is considered humor is different in different cultures, and that's really apparent when you're watching anime. So stuff
true.
that to us is considered like borderline taboo or just kind of weird is not considered weird in its country of origin, but the same thing would be true for us. Like, the same thing's true when people from other countries watch our humor. It would seem borderline taboo or weird, but that's just because it's what we've been exposed to. Like,
That's
a
true.
really good example of this is like how prevalent violence is.
Oh
is
yeah, and how rare
weird
it
in
is
other places,
Mm-hmm.
but like sexually explicit material is a lot more commonplace in a lot of other places. So yeah, it is. It's like it's. I was talking to a friend about this recently that like American cartoons kind of got me out of anime, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like there is a cultural divide when you watch anime. It is
Yeah.
not what you're used to seeing in your own culture, and it's frequently not really about American culture.
Mhm.
So you can apply things to your life, but it's always going to be a little bit strange.
But then when it is, it's very funny.
Yeah, right. Stuff seems really
Well,
zany.
No, well, I follow a bunch of artists on Twitter, and they were posting about this recently. There was like a manga where the American showed up, and he was like, I don't use mayonnaise, I only use ketchup on my fries. And all the like background people are like, oh shit, what was it? It was some like cowboy like
Of course it was.
yeah, it was so funny though, because it's like that's how they see us, is just like brash who like our cheeseburgers and say bazonga or something. I don't remember. Like it was hilarious. It's so good.
That's funny.
Yeah, seeing your culture played out through other cultures' eyes is very interesting, because things
Yeah.
that you're like, oh no, this makes sense, and they're like, no, it's ridiculous. It's like, okay, well,
One of
us is probably right. We both might be. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I was kind of interrupting you. I didn't mean to. But one of my favorite things where I saw that kind of in reverse was I did a class about tourism in Japan when I was in college, and my professor was great because she let me get away with some real BS that she should not have, but that's okay, because it let me explore some topics that I was interested in. And one of them was comparing samurai movies made in Japan versus samurai movies made in America. So, like, you look at this movie called Last Samurai, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about how the samurai and the shoguns were great, and this new westernization of Japan is terrible, and it's destroying their culture, and how disgraceful their army is that's conscripting, like, peasants and normal people. We should have these noble warriors, right? And then you watch a samurai movie from Japan, and the samurais are always villains, and the heroes are ronin, who are disgraced samurai. And in the show, in the movies, it's always about peasants rising up and fighting off evil warlords that are just beheading people at random for fun. Because as it turns out, like, like, feudalism's never good for anybody. Japan doesn't get a pass on that, Like, feudal Japan was horrible, and it was just legal to murder people if they weren't nobles. So, yeah, it was bad. But in Last Samurai, no. Noble warrior. When you talk to people from Japan, they're like, no, they were nuts. Like, what are you talking about?
I actually saw it's similar conversation, but an analysis from someone who grew up in a colonized country, an analysis of Chronicles of Narnia. And they're like, the whole idea, you can tell this was written by a colonizer and not someone who was colonized, because the whole idea that these kids would come to Narnia and then were destined to rule, and therefore were welcomed and encouraged to rule a country they didn't understand, with politics they didn't understand before they were ready to be a part of any of this, and they would just be welcomed and given power, and that whole concept, clearly not written by somebody that had ever been through any kind of colonization and watched their culture literally destroyed. And I was like, that's a solid point I never thought of.
So the last book that I've been listening to, it's called the frickin' Somebody's Dragon. I don't remember, like the King's Dragon or something like that. It's set during like Imperial British times, right? And so far, it is like completely non-critical of British imperial life. Like, it's about a awesome naval captain who gets an awesome dragon and then just becomes more awesome. And it's all like these gentlemen insulting each other and being like, oh, I would never stand for such indignity. I'm going on adventure,
Wait, you hate this stuff. Why are you reading this?
I do, because it's by an author that the other book that she wrote was amazing. And I'm just like waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it hasn't happened yet.
How
and I'm
far
just
in the
like
book
sitting
are you?
here. I finished it, but it's a trilogy, so I'm like, maybe the next book, because like the dragons are sentient and enslaved, and the British Empire breeds them to be stupid. And I'm like, wait a second, wait. All of that was really problematic.
Yeah.
But I'm just like sitting here like, is this just never gonna Maybe it's not. I don't know. So far, it's just like we got in a battle. You know, we did hero things. We really showed Napoleon. Like,
There's bigger things we need to be talking about here.
okay. I guess we'll just not handle that statement at all.
Oh man, that
It's
would
weird.
be really hard to read and be waiting for that other shoe to drop and then never have it come down. Like that would
Yeah.
be bizarre.
Well, and at the risk of sending Cody on a rant, what is the American Gods too?
Oh, yeah.
Is like that's a hilarious book in terms of like it's clearly a British person writing about
Yeah.
America because like things don't make sense if you're an American reading it and you're like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that'd be a good one for you to read, Chris, because it's clearly a British guy who's only ever lived in New York and Los Angeles, and then he's like, I'm going to write about Wisconsin. I'm an
That's
expert
right.
on this. Like, oh,
That's funny.
I hate you. keep writing about Americana, you puke.
So, it's going to bring us something weird talking about the anime thing, because it's kind of related, it's kind of not, because we're talking about the difference in cultures and what we consider to be, certain things. It's kind of a different vein, but this last weekend, nah, it's just during the week, yeah. Anyways, during the week, went to one of the art museums downtown. They had over 20,000 things of art for you to look at. It's pretty interesting. 4-story building. Lot of art, a lot of interesting pieces. Now, when you walk in and you head up the stairs, one of the first pieces of art for you to see once you get up the stairs is this small rectangular frame, and you gotta walk closer to see it. It's got 3 pictures in it of a dude completely nude. You don't see the guy at all. One picture is him literally mid-stroke. I mean, yeah, mid-stroke. You see everything. Hand around it, mid-stroke. The second picture is just his ass.
Great.
And then the third picture is the same as the first, but no hand. Just
flexing it.
Just flexing it, man. Just flexing it.
I'm not totally sure what that phrase means, and I really don't want someone to explain it to me.
Well, your penis has a muscle in it that you
Oh,
can flex
God,
it well.
Don't.
I'm just confused on
Why is this?
why is that art?
Also, why is that? Okay, my bigger question though is why is that the art piece when you walk up and first see it? Like, kids go to the museum, don't they?
That's what I was about to
Yes.
say. Yes, exactly. Like kids go to museums and they have to. That's not even the worst. Oh my god, I took a picture of this shit. This is hold on. This is all statue. This is all statue. This is not actual like naked pictures. So I wouldn't. Do
I'm
that to you
gonna
guys.
level with you. If you try to send it through Discord will edit nudity out of pictures. I know from experience.
I would be very surprised if Discord picked this up.
Who
But we'll
were
see.
you
find
trying to? Don't tell me. I don't.
No,
wanna know.
you know this because it was you and Chris. I was watching.
Yeah, that's up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was watching freaking what's it called? There were just 2 people 69ing in the foreground,
Oh my god!
and I told you guys this. And you're like,
Right?
that's not true.
I was like, what is this? What is this?
Oh wait, let me see the picture.
Working on it.
Can you save
No,
that?
oh,
I want the
I
file.
can't even see it. Calm down,
I want the file.
I want the
Cody-
file.
Cody. Shut up.
Never.
Is it in the
Cody's just stacking up his report against me for whenever HR happens
is
for,
it?
for Dead Funny.
Yeah.
Like Chris is just sending me fucking dick pics.
What chat room did you put it in?
I put it in. So yeah, I'm sorry. It is in general chat under Dead Funny Team. That is like all of our chat rooms down there. That only we can access as part of the Dead Funny Team.
the pics one. I'm not
No,
seeing
no,
it.
General chat. General
Oh,
chat.
why am I not
I
seeing
have no
it?
idea what you're talking
Oh,
about,
I
Chris.
guess you guys. Oh, it's asking me to actually invite you guys to it. Hold on. Invite.
Yeah, you're
Kelsey.
Oh, we're on the chat. Oh.
Fuck. But I gave everybody from fucking Dead Funny access to this.
No,
It
it's
doesn't make
okay.
any
I
sense.
understand. Do you want to hear my answer though? And this doesn't apply to kids,
Alright,
so I
there you
don't
go,
really
Mandy.
know the answer for kids.
Great.
Other than like if you've ever been to an art museum and you bring kids to an art museum, you kind of have to know they're going to see some tits. Like,
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
This is not tits, bro.
well, isn't it though? Like, why is male nudity particularly objectionable to you?
Well, I mean,
This is the point
this
of the
is
piece.
specific.
Challenging.
Sure, we'll go with that. That's fine. Challenging. Yes.
The nude female body is considered art, where nude male bodies.
I
are
never said
considered
that. I
perversion.
honestly feel like if kids are constantly going into
I
this,
give up. I can't find it. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out later.
I don't
Send
know
it to us
why.
later.
I'll just put in the DF fucking pics. I don't know why I just didn't do that to begin with. If you guys can access that.
I mean, there were
Anyways.
much easier routes to go than
Yes,
the one
there-
you chose.
Anyway,
Kelsey?
I
continue.
feel like I made a
Kelsey.
sound point about art, and all of you guys are
Kelsey?
ignoring me.
Don't you dare.
There are
Right.
a million paintings of women bathing, just like 10,000 paintings.
Kelsey, we are
Every
in.
time you go to an art museum.
Kelsey, we are in public. Don't you dare. Okay. We are.
That
on
is
content.
awesome.
Right?
That's an interesting
That is
That's-
the
statue.
best sculpture I've ever seen in my life.
That is on the 4th floor. I literally walk up the stairs and I'm like,
Oh.
I wonder what's up here. I turn to the right and it's just dicks. Like, I
Like,
was
here's
like,
the thing.
well,
Two
there's
goats
that.
like making out. It's okay.
So the best part
Boners.
is I sent that 1 to my friends and then 2 to my mom. No context. No one knew I was going to the museum. No context at all. Just straight bam.
I kind of want to send this on our other group chat.
Yeah, right? No, here's the deal. And this is, I think, something that is misunderstood about art. There are times when artists are being punk rock, and then their stuff still gets put in a museum. And I'm like, there's no way that this guy, whoever made this, or woman, carefully shaped those goat dicks and them,
Right.
like, French kissing, and wasn't like, I'm messing with people on this one.
Right.
Yeah,
know
no,
what I
I
mean?
looked this up because I have to know. This was made by a woman. And if you want to, dear viewer, if you want to go find this piece of art to see what we're reacting to,
Yeah, I will
The
not
art-
put it in the video.
the
Yeah, I
sculpture
know.
is A Rush of Blood to the Head. And it was
Oh, yeah, it
done
is, all right.
by a Washington State artist named Beth Kavanagh Stitcher. Yeah. Go look that up. A
Yeah.
Rush of Blood to the Head sculpture.
It's
And-
very explicit and bestiality.
It is if kids are currently looking at your phone, maybe use our reactions to this as a way of going, look at yourself first.
Yeah.
That second picture I posted was my favorite one at the museum. I thought that was done very, very well.
No,
That
I'm
is
just
really
saying, that is a straight up punk rock sculpture right there.
That is.
Like all these beautiful, carefully made sculptures. And she's just sitting there like, yeah, I'm gonna make these dicks good though.
Well, these goats
So-
are making out.
One of my favorite experiences, one of my friends took me, I'm actually going to see her this weekend. I'm really pumped. One of my friends in high school took me to a museum in Portland, Oregon, and we went through and we had a blast of a time. And we actually accidentally ended up in the modern art section. And modern art is challenging for a number of reasons. But we ended up in this room that was dedicated, and I have no idea who the artist was because my teenage brain exploded. But we walk in and it's just these white canvases primarily with geometric random shapes and then boobs. And it's just boobs. And so it's just white boobs. And so we walk in and my friend immediately whispers, red, 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 black boobs. And that becomes all we say to each other all weekend long, because there was just this room of they weren't even necessarily boobs, right? I should not gesture at myself. I should gesture at you. They weren't boobs next to each other. It was boobs in one corner and then another boob flopping in a different direction in a different corner. And some of them only had one. And it was what is this? Well, this friend that took me there actually eventually went on to get a degree in some form of art. She has some specific, I want to say it's Italian or Spanish or
It
something like that.
influenced her. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she now goes to art museums, and she called me one time drunkenly and was like, I get modern art and we have to talk about it. And I'm like, okay, let me hear your drunken
Okay.
rant about modern art.
Nobody actually gets modern art. Let's be real.
I don't think
here.
anybody gets any fucking art. I mean, once again, go to that museum, look at the dick pics, and tell me how that's art. Because I can literally just take a picture of my dick right now and give that to
Here's
the
the
museum,
thing.
and that's art. That's fucking art.
Right?
I cannot tell you guys enough. I'm not lying. There was no
Was the
discoloration.
lighting cool
No,
at least,
it was
or
literally this guy literally went into a room, pulled out
Was
a
it
camera.
shadows?
No, nothing.
I have a compelling
Nothing.
argument on this, I feel.
Please,
I do too.
I want to
Once he
know.
Here's the
finishes
point.
ranting.
Chris, did that make an emotional impact on you?
I felt that if I was a father and I was bringing my kids to the museum, I'd be pretty fucking furious.
Right, that you saw that piece of art, right? It inspired fury and rage. That is an authentic artistic experience. I don't think that's an accident. Again, there's no way that these artists make this thing and are like, this isn't gonna mess with somebody. They know what they're doing. They're not dumb.
But
they're
see,
like, yes, we're putting this.
As a well, I'm not a father, but as a future father, if my kids ran into the Dick Goat statue, that's art. I get that. Like that, someone took time to sculpt that. This dude literally pulled out his iPhone, took a picture of him fucking masturbating, and then hung it up in a fucking museum. That's not art. That belongs on fucking Pornhub. That doesn't belong in the goddamn museum magazine.
If it is making a statement, and I believe that.
What statement was made? That I like to tongue on my fucking tallywhacker? Like, what the fuck?
I'm more disappointed that whoever like was taking the pictures didn't like take the time to make them like look nice, you know?
There was
like if
no
you're gonna take a
editing
picture
done,
on your
Mandy.
iPhone, like I don't know, like put a light on it or something.
I promise
you
you, there was no. I wish I would have taken a picture of it.
Taking the editing. Oh my god, I love you, Mandy.
But that's
Well,
the
if
thing.
you're not gonna do anything, that to me is like the saddest part. Like at least do so, you know,
Like, make it wear a hat, something. Like something. You know what I'm saying? Make it wear a hat.
Oh gosh.
Like fuck.
Oh man.
But I don't want to
No.
walk upstairs and just get hit in the face with fucking 2 dicks and an ass. You know what I mean?
I'm so happy with this. That's exactly where it belongs and exactly what it should be. Sets the tone for the rest of the day.
Oh, it did. All right, it did, because I was like, well, fuck, I don't know if I'm gonna see anything that tops this. Like, Jesus
Like,
Christ.
I wonder now if you bring kids to the museum if they're like, okay, like there's like the ones that are like more explicit. Like don't let them see it, but if you
Quadrant
if you are
floor
not
1 and 4, quadrants 3 and 2 are a little bit more rated R.
yeah, if they
so
have
you
like
might
if they
wanna
like
be okay.
highlighted
Yeah.
if they like highlighted on the map and they're like explicit.
The rated R section of the museum.
Yeah, right.
It's literally just fucking, you walk in, just nonstop porn. Oh, that was another thing.
Oh my god.
I walk in. This one wasn't as bad. I was just more mind blown. Like, I guess that's fine. I don't care what people say online. I guess I don't understand art. I don't know. But anyways, so there's this fucking room at the bottom of this museum, and it's got 2 black curtains. You walk in, and it's a TV. There's 4 cushioned benches, and if you watch the TV, it's a music video. Not by anybody that I've ever heard of, seen, anything. So it's not a popular artist. The image on the screen is a bunch of random gold and silver chunks all made together to almost look like some deformed face. And then it has like her eyes, the lady that's rapping's eyes pulled out of her head and on these chunks, and then her mouth as well. So the mouth is moving along with it. And the hand is just like, it's done so, the animation's so bad it's glitching all over the place. But maybe that's part of the art. Who fucking knows? But it's glitching all over the place. And it's just like juggling these like silver beaded balls. And all she's doing is insulting you the entire time you're in there. Her rap is just nothing but like fucking calling you a bitch. And if you didn't think that this is good, then you're a bitch. And like all this other shit. And it's on loop. It's like a 2-minute rap. And it's on loop. And that is it. That's all that's in that room. There's not another thing in this room. This room is big enough to fucking sleep like fucking 30 people. We have all these homeless people in Madison. I'm not trying to make a stance here. We have all these homeless people in Madison. And this is what we have a fucking room dedicated to. Is someone to literally call you a bitch for a solid 2 minutes. You don't even know who that someone is because they look like this deformed fucking hunk of gold and silver. I don't know. And like I said, maybe I just don't understand art. Maybe that's what it is. And
I have like kind of mixed feelings on this because
oh, this is where you have mixed feelings. Dicks and ass in your face, but this is where you have mixed feelings.
Oh man, like look, Chris, me and Kelsey and Mandy were all in like a really liberal art school. I spent hours talking about what art means.
Yeah.
And this conversation could go on for 30 years with me, but here's my point. I think it's a mistake in some ways to say that art is meant to be understood on an intellectual level. I think
Totally
it can be, but I think you miss something when you don't look at art as meant to cause an emotion or create a desired effect. So, putting a guy jerking off at the top of the stairs is art because it is there with purpose and fulfills a desired effect. I actually think that's a funny piece of art because to me, and this might not be true of what the artist intended, but I don't care what the artist intended, and that is its own problematic statement about, like, anyways, that's kind of a postmodern thing to say. So anyways,
I adore you.
I think that's a funny statement because of how much of museums is absolutely uncritically dedicated to just nude pictures of women. Just, you go into rooms full of, like I said, just women bathing, women changing, just paintings of these things. Because the fact of the matter is, at the time, freaking all the painters were dirty old perverts who were like, I'm gonna paint some titties!
See, and
but
I agree with you. And if they
now
would
we
have been
slap
paintings,
them in museums and call them art.
But see,
Why
I
is
agree
that
with
art?
you. I agree with you. But see, if it would have been paintings of a dude jacking off, it probably wouldn't have struck me the way it did.
So
but
what is it about paint
it was
on a
literally
canvas that
fucking
makes it a piece of art?
Polaroids of this
No, I
fucking
know that. But here's my
40-year-old
point.
creep who's just like, I'm gonna tug on my dick and then put it in a fucking museum. Like,
Why does doing that in paint make it suddenly art and doing it in a photograph not art? What is it about paint on a
I
canvas?
feel like paint is actually like, skill, talent.
Okay,
And that's
so
more
then
putting art.
is art just the skill of being able to photo render things in a different thing?
I
so
feel
I don't think so.
I feel
So then
personally,
it's their
if I'm
craftsman.
standing by two artists and one can paint me a naked Mona Lisa and the other one can only paint me a stick figure, I'm going to be like, well, you're obviously not talented. And this is
The
obviously not
artist
art.
is the one that makes you feel the most.
Well, he
if that
made me
stick
feel
figure-
like his painting looked like shit, so...
If that stick figure makes you feel something, it is art to me. The Mona Lisa might not be if you look at it and feel nothing. Now, maybe you have a transcendent experience when looking at the Mona Lisa, but if you don't, it's craftsmanship.
I didn't have a
That person
transcendent
was good at
experience,
what they're
but
doing.
my pants did. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And that's fine. Like, that's the other thing, is we're all comfortable with the notion of something being erotic for the sake of being erotic, that we have to like, oh, this is an example of the, look at how the light is. Like, no, it's a picture of boobs at some point. Come on, we all know what this is. They didn't have cameras back then, so this is what they had.
I also think there's a tendency to dismiss, and Chris, you should not have brought up art with this particular crowd. Like, you do not know
I
what you
tried to
started.
bring it up at the end of the podcast.
No. We're gonna be I'll now settle in.
Yeah, I think there's a desire to dismiss art that you could do yourself, and I think that's an inappropriate way of viewing both the artist and art in general. There's a lot of things I could do myself, and there's a lot of things with the time, like the dedication, the training, or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have a desire to convey a message, and that's the medium that I chose to convey whatever message it was. Because his message with his dick pics at the top of his stairs also could have been like, hey, in this modern era, I'm trying to connect with people, and all people want me for is my dick pics, and so here are my dick pics. Does this tell you anything about me? Like, there could be some very deep meaning behind this, or literally it could just be a guy that's like, took a Polaroid and fooled some museum into putting it on the wall. Hey!
Okay.
But I'd be really surprised if it was the latter.
So I got a question for you because we were talking about the whole naked girls. How many museums are you going where we actually have just Polaroids? It's just fucking tits and vagina, like all over the place.
But that's the point. What is it about paint on a canvas that suddenly turns the topic into something no longer taboo?
So this is the difference because it looks different. You know what I mean? I don't know how better to explain that, but it looks different than an actual real image, right? Because it's paint. We know that's the only way they had to do that. But right now, if I pull my fucking clothes off and walk outside right now, I'm getting arrested. Because why? I'm public or indecent in public.
Yeah.
How is that any different?
Well,
but I can't look like a painting and get naked and then walk out in public because that's just not a reality. I can't. So they look different. And once again, I don't know how to explain this. I'm not the fucking best at that. But I can easily look like that guy. That's easy. I just got to walk outside butt naked and wrap my hand around my dick and I'm good to go. Like that's, and why is that not okay? Why can't I go stand in the museum right now, butt ass naked, just rubbing one out. Why
Okay,
can't I do
like,
that?
First of
No,
all,
don't
I
ask for
am
this on the
sure
internet.
There are
I
artistic
want
exhibits
the
where there
internet's
has just
input.
been a guy standing naked in a museum. Like that has for sure happened.
Probably.
Um,
Probably.
Now, I would say that is a level of challenging that probably not everyone is going to want to experience. But dick pics in a tiny picture they could probably get away with without having too many complaining phone calls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is I'm of the mindset that art as presented by artists is frequently like, I don't know, it's like got more bravado to it than I think we want to give it. We want art to be isolated in these nice little separate pictures. Like, I think half the time it is made as a middle finger to what someone else is doing.
Yeah,
Like,
I would agree with that.
honestly, one of my most despised artists, to me, everything he did was just ironic BS, and I hate it. And it was Warhol, and everyone loves him. I hate Andy Warhol because everything he did was just like, I'm being ironic. Like, screw you, do art. Like, but I don't know. For him, that's what he was doing. For me, it didn't land. You know.
That's fine. Like I said, I am completely okay with going the rest of my life with the notion that I just don't get art. That's completely fine.
But that's the wrong way to look at it.
That's
Art
not,
to me
though.
is not something that is meant to be got. It's
Sure.
not like you don't
Sure.
understand the language. It is meant to elicit emotion.
But I feel
If
like
you
if
look
I
at a piece
walk,
of art
if I walk
and
in
have
a
an
museum-
emotion, you're done.
if I
That's
walk
my
in, in
biggest
a
problem
museum,
with modern art, though, is because I look at it and I'm like, okay, squares, great.
So actually that red black boobs thing that I was telling you about, my friend in her drunken rant, she was like, I looked that up and it became a subject in my class, and she was going on about the fact that that was actually done as like it was done by a breast cancer survivor in like awareness. She had like the breast cancer survivor had double mastectomy, and it was about awareness of breast cancer, and it was done for that purpose, and also like the like very bizarre experience that she had while she was both going through chemo and radiation and then eventually the mastectomy kind of thing, with these things that like were super sexualized by everybody around her, but were also for her like killing her. And I was like, that's actually like, now that I understand that, I could go through that exhibit with so much more like knowledge and awareness, but I didn't have that at the time. I was a teenager like, oh my God, boobs and squares. And I like fell over.
But I don't think that's an invalid experience. I think the problem is
I would agree.
thinking that experience of being like made uncomfortable or finding like you can only laugh at boobs, or it's like, oh, this is taboo. Like that, I think is part of what she was trying to do.
Yeah,
is
no, definitely.
When a teenager comes and looks at this, they're going to be like, why are there boobs out ever? Boobs aren't meant to be seen. They're secret sexy things, you know?
Yeah.
But so like that is also part of it, is people missing maybe the message that she was going for. So I don't know. There's layers to these things. But I don't think there's a wrong way to experience art.
I totally get where you're coming from, but like modern art for me is like, I agree with Chris in the sense of it is like it's almost like if you need so much explanation behind things, then I don't know if I like, you either need to tell me what you're like trying to convey or like give me background up front. Otherwise, I don't care. Because when I literally say, I don't remember if it was the Cincinnati or the Indianapolis Art Museum, but when I say somebody literally painted like a yellow square, a blue square, and a red square, I'm like, okay, great. It's pretty, but you're gonna like, if you want to sit here and tell me that the 3 different primary squares give some kind of deeper meaning, I'm just not gonna take that. I'm sorry. And especially the stuff for me that looks like they were finger painted, like my 16-month-old finger paints now. It's just like I can't give you the level of like, well, I spent so much time finger paint. Like, no, calm down.
So I agree with you. Not only do I agree with you, but let me put it in another way, right? Okay, so when we talk about art, we talk about things being a work of art, right? Anybody that perfects their craft technically has turned whatever they're doing into a work of art, right? It can almost be said about anything you do, like a good joke teller, for instance. It's like, oh, the way well, hold on. But being able to tell jokes, because art is subjective, right? That we can all agree on that. Art is
Yeah.
It
subjective.
is, yeah.
Okay, same thing with comedy.
Well,
Comedy is subjective, right? Some people be like, you know what? The way he worded that joke together, the way he did that's art. That's just how that is. That's just, and once again, we can have different opinions. That's fine. But let's just, for the sake of this fucking argument, let's say that we somewhat agree, right? So if we somewhat agree, which we all know Cody doesn't, but we somewhat agree, right? So, because I know it's bothering you that you're even pretending that you're agreeing with me.
it
Anyways,
is. There's like the part of me that wants to start screaming artifice or something.
So we
You're a
somewhat
slave to aesthetic, whatever.
So if we somewhat agree, fuck, I got off on a tangent and forgot where I was going with this.
Art's subjective. Anything.
No, it was what you had said. Hold on,
Perfection.
hold on.
It was a point about perfecting a craft as art.
Perfecting a craft is art. Oh,
That was
okay.
nice.
It was the fact that she was talking about like you shouldn't have to take this long story to tell me what the fuck it means. I should be able to just get it, or fucking something short, sweet, right? So if I had to tell a joke and it went over your head, and then I have to explain the joke to you, do you see how that's not funny? Right? It's the same thing,
Now look,
right?
art is
Right?
not beyond
Mandy,
criticism.
come on.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
art's not beyond criticism.
I'm not
I
saying
just
this either.
think, I just
But a
think
guy
it's
jacking
interesting.
off in my face, I think I'm allowed to fucking criticize that just a tad bit.
You can criticize it. I just do think it is art because it elicited emotional response from you, and I believe that was intent. I do think there is an issue within modern art to be very elitist and to make the claim that art is only meant to be observed and enjoyed by a certain select group of people,
Mhm.
and that is generally linked to like money and education. And I do think that's a problem. It's why I do really like folky punk stuff, because it generally is kind of disregards that and also seeks to not be perfect, which is why I disagree about your point about perfection, because I don't think that's true.
Yeah, but see, saying
Um,
perfection, especially with something as subjective as art, I mean, we could go back to the same thing that I said earlier with the one guy that's going to paint me the fucking neck of Mona Lisa, and the other guy that's going to paint me a stick figure. If that's all he could do, and he's okay with that, and he's content with that, like that's his form of art. So in his mind, that's perfected craft. It doesn't matter what I think. He's perfected the kind of art he likes to do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think for me, the biggest thing that bothers me about the idea of 3 different pictures of a guy up on the floor of a museum is that to me feels like counterculture pretentiousness. And that is a personal thing where I'm like, this guy was like, I don't need to set up a good shot. I don't need to have nice lighting. I don't need to edit the pictures. I just am gonna take it and I'm done and screw the elite. And I'm just like, that I don't know, that is its own issue.
All I know is that this is what I'm gonna say right here, right? So that way everybody's my witness, right? Next time I'm feeling frisky, right? I'm just gonna go to the museum butt ass naked, just start churning one out, and the moment
I
the
really
cops,
wonder how far you
the
can
moment the cops are the security people. Well, probably I wouldn't even make it to the museum because it's downtown. I'd have to run. I'm pretty quick though. Anyways,
I'm pretty quick.
I'm fucking fast, all right? I'm fucking tracking all that shit fucking fast. Anyways, so I get there, right? Churning one out, right? The cops are the security guards, whoever comes to grab me first, most likely security. I can literally just sit there and say, wait. I have gotten an emotion out of you. This is now art, right? Right?
No, Chris,
And
honestly.
if that doesn't work, Cody has to pay my bill. That's all
No,
I'm saying.
listen.
That's
I'm
all I'm saying.
actually
That's fair.
thinking this would be a solid art exhibit.
Oh my god.
No, I'm serious.
I
Like,
know.
there's much explicit material in museums, and I think having them doubled by a person doing that would actually be hilarious. Like in real life.
No, I know, but that's exactly the kind of crap you like. So.
It's just the kind of stuff that, again, like, I don't know. I've been listening to, like,
All I know right now from what you've said is that you're okay with going to a museum, walking into a room with a fucking live guy just fucking rubbing one out in front of you. I don't know if I really want to hang out. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying that I
That's all I'm saying, dude.
I think the point is to be made to feel not okay. Does that make sense? Like,
There are
Yeah.
other ways to make me feel not okay.
there is
Way more options out there than just some dude just randomly jerking it in the fucking corner while just staring at me and making eye
Okay,
contact.
I know you're making a facetious point, but now I do.
Oh my gosh.
No, look. Okay, so part of what art can do, right, is to elicit an emotion in a safe
Chris, why?
way. Look, okay, I'm making a point here, right? So imagine something like a graphic depiction of violence, right? We could see that in a museum and call it art because it's meant to make you feel how it would feel to have this horrible thing happen to you.
I
right?
swear to God, you're about to tell me people murdering somebody in a fucking museum is art. I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind.
Right? What makes it art in this case is the at least facade of a boundary, right? So you look at that picture and there's not literally a guy staring at you while masturbating. Now, in the case of what you're talking about, you would that then feels like you're masturbating to whoever is in the museum. That's where it gets creepy now, right? Because it is no longer separated. What I think you would have to do is like put a rope or some arbitrary divide.
Oh God, he's critiquing your art plan. Oh my God.
It makes you in some way a separate entity from the audience watching you. Otherwise, it just becomes the reality of some guy
you
like
can just put like
jerking
one
off.
of those like fucking like little pillow mask on him too, so you can't even see who's in the crowd. He's just fucking yanking one out.
You know, honestly, Chris, you're like getting to a good piece here. We're approaching it. Like having you with the pillowcase over your head roped off, just jerking off. Actually, I think would work in some museums.
Oh my gosh. I'm
The
done.
problem is, I actually think that Cody's right, and I'm super uncomfortable with that reality.
Right, it's the worst.
No, but I'm serious. Like that's like part of what makes you. That's why like audience participation is such like a taboo in some ways. Is because part of the point is that you get to feel separated and safe from what's going on.
Chris,
But-
never bring up art again.
But then when you have to do like some kind of audience participation, now you're like having to be part of the
Okay,
experience.
I want to point out just on that note too, with the audience participation, right? So we were talking about the acts of violence. If I walk in a room and someone is fucking murdering me, I don't give a fuck if there's a rope separating me or anything. I'm a goddamn witness.
No, but that's a thing.
What is
like
going
that's
on
what
at that
every
point,
haunted
and possibly
maze is,
accomplish.
right?
What?
That's a whole form of entertainment. Is you go to a haunted house with a chainsaw. Like there's haunted houses where you have to sign waivers because they're like people are gonna grab you and maybe even push you a little bit, you know. And it's like that level of simulated danger is part of the experience, you know.
He loves haunted houses, actually, and he loves
Yeah,
the ones where they have
like
to sign
you're
waivers.
literally-
Last time I checked, didn't you want to go to the one in California where you basically said, "I don't care what happens to me, I give up my body for a day"?
The torture one? That
Who
one's
are you talking
creepy.
to? Because Cody's
You, Chris, didn't you?
Because it's not like you were talking to Cody, because he kept reacting to what you were saying, so I was very confused. I did not say that. I said I would.
I thought you
never
were
go to
genuinely
that.
interested in that.
I love haunted houses. I would never go to one where they can fucking like spit on me and throw me in a guy, because I watched some of those videos of people doing it. They like spit on them, throw them in a coffin, fucking pour like weird fucking liquids and shit in there, fucking close it up. Nah, I'm claustrophobic and all that. No, and if somebody spits on me, you're fucking dying. Like that's how they're gonna spit on me and just fucking think that that's all cool. No, that's not how that works. But
See, you found your boundary where you're no longer comfortable with the immersion. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You know where that is for you. But here's my question, right? So, no, look, listen, hear me out here. A haunted house is somewhat a simulation of violence, right? But it's in a safe way.
okay.
I kind of think a haunted house is basically the same thing as a strip club. In this way, where like a strip club is, I want to say, a safe way to, in some ways, like simulate a sexual experience, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So, like, I think that there is a stigma, though, attached to something like a strip club or something like erotic art, where like the simulation of sexuality we're very uncomfortable with, and this again is a difference between like culturally what is considered funny and taboo. But a simulation of violence is like normal, and you take your 10-year-olds to that. That is a difference, and it is an oddity to be aware of within our own culture, which is how much we're totally okay with someone pretending to cut someone's head off, and how much we're totally not okay with someone pretending to be nude. You know what I mean?
He
There's
wasn't
an interesting
pretending.
difference there.
He was.
Well, okay, yeah. You kinda get what I mean.
Just want to make sure that was on the record. He wasn't pretending to be nude. He didn't show up and then it was like you watch the video or the picture scroll down and you're like, oh, I'm about to see this dude's dick, and all of a sudden it's like, ha, cover in the way. No, he wasn't pretending.
No,
There was
but I mean,
dick
it's
and balls and ass in my face.
Well, maybe don't lean that close to the art, Chris.
Kelsey,
Like
it
you
was a
can give
very
it some
small
space.
rectangular frame, okay, and it had very small pictures
You
in
just stuck your head in. All
I
right.
was very interested because I didn't think that I would go to the museum and get hit with the fucking ad from Pornhub while I was walking
can-
through the fucking museum.
I
You can
just
be
don't
very
know what else you would
judge.
expect to see. That's exactly what I expect to see when I go to a museum.
Dude, but see, that's the thing though. It's like, imagine in the future when we have like fucking VR or some shit, and you go to like some VR museum. As soon as you walk in, it's just gonna be fucking like constant like Pornhub apps that pop up, and you're like, God damn it! Like, I don't know if this is bad or this.
You
is
know
a
that's
work
like
of
a
art.
reality
I
now.
have no idea what this is. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. You're agreeing
Not
with
the
me.
future, that's right now.
Yeah, except I can't close it out. I just have to look at it while it happens to me. Like, it's just there. There's nothing I could do. I was like, God damn it. It, like,
I mean, you
set the
could have
tone.
looked at the floor and walked away embarrassedly.
Well, there's
But
no
again,
point in
then that kind of feels like that's probably exactly what the artist wants people to do, you know?
Yeah.
And then it feels like a little bit of a challenge.
See,
It's got
and
layers.
That's I know we're gonna disagree on this, but like I don't even feel like we have the right. Or I'm sorry, I don't feel like he has the right to be called an artist. He just took a picture of his dick and put it on a wall. I could literally
then
do
who
that
does?
right now
Like-
in the middle of this podcast, and no one would know. No one would know. That doesn't make me a goddamn artist. I'm
Well,
just
okay,
fucking
no.
taking pictures of my dick.
Here's a good example. What about what we do? Is this art? What we're doing right now is this
If it was
podcast.
perfected craft, yes. Right now we're like rocking
So-
solid like 10%.
Okay, so then is all artistry is just perfecting a certain thing? So like you're not an
Well, that's
artist
what I said,
until you
though.
get really
That's
good?
what I said though. It once again, subject, right? And it's up to the artist whether they think that's perfected, right? I don't feel that we've perfected this even in the slightest. Not
Okay,
even
so
close. We're good.
I have never done
entertaining.
art then because I've never considered myself to have like given a perfect performance. So like I did a lot of performance art, right? Like I was in band, I was in choir, I did
But-
a lot of theater.
You didn't let me finish.
I would have
though.
never considered any of that to be perfect. So
You didn't let
I've
me
never
finish,
done
though.
art.
You didn't let me finish though. My other half of that, which I also said, was work that goes into it. That dude literally did nothing. He literally
But
took
got a
picture
heart
of
on
his
it.
dick.
Where do you draw that line? You know what I mean?
I
Like,
do
who-
something. You do something. Right now, we are dedicating an hour, 6 minutes, and 39 seconds to this goddamn podcast. This is doing something. We're actually doing something. We're here making content for the people who are watching us. This dude literally was
So-
like, I'm just going to take a picture of my dick. See what happens.
So what if this podcast was only 10 minutes long? Would that be art then?
Yes, because I still have to edit it, asshole. And put all the other stuff in. There's still work being done behind the
Okay,
scenes,
so what if we
jackass.
streamed it on Twitch and didn't edit it and it was only 10 minutes long? That's not art now.
No, that's still art, because we still have to put on these online personas and get in front of the camera.
Well, he put on a persona when he took those pictures, maybe.
He's a fucking faceless.
Were you there?
He's a
Are you in
faceless.
his head? He
He's
might
a
have been thinking strongman thoughts. You
he
don't
is
know.
a faceless fucking naked vigilante is what he is. All right, his face wasn't in those pictures.
My wife is so done with this conversation, and I am so not.
His face wasn't in those goddamn pictures. We don't know who he was. He's
He
just
could
a
be
dick.
Batman.
He's just
But
a dick.
he might
That's all
have
he
thought
is.
that through, you know? What if he, like, sketched it out? He worked on which pictures he would present.
Get the fuck
you know?
out of here. If he would have done any of that, there would have been some sign of like fluff or fucking lighting, anything.
Fluff?
This looked
You thought
like
he
a
was gonna have
goddamn
flopper on
this shit looks like a goddamn snuff film. That's what that shit looks like. It's some fucking dark, creepy, blue wall. Like, I'm pretty sure you could see his toilet in the background, and he's just like, dick pic, ass pic, dick pic. Let's go. In that order,
Oh,
from left
so
to
is
right.
photography ever art?
I don't know what you want from me, dude. Fuck, man.
Chris, what I want to do is crush you.
I don't.
I want you to
no,
admit
I
you're
don't
not
feel.
right.
I don't feel that. I don't feel like that's art. Sometimes I really don't.
Ugh,
I know
gosh.
sometimes you're gonna argue with me on that. I really don't. Like, if you take a picture of your fucking kid smiling and show it to me, you're like, oh look, my fucking kid smiling. It's not art. It's just a fucking picture. But if you go and take like a picture of these fucking crazy ass goddamn mountains and all this other fucking beautiful nature shit, that's art. There you go. It needs to be beautiful. His dick was not beautiful. I don't know what you want from me.
You're a slave to aesthetic, Chris.
That's
Art should
fine.
be challenging.
I'm okay.
There's nothing challenging about a lake.
I think
mean,
Cody just won that one, actually.
well, no, I mean,
And he can win all that. That's fine. Cody can surround himself in a room full of dicks and fucking be happy with his art all day. I don't give a fuck. I'm okay with being a dumbass when it comes to art and thinking that a fucking
But
beautiful
you're
lake
not.
is
That's-
better than a goddamn fucking dick on the wall. I'm okay with
No.
that.
part of the point that I'm trying to make is that I think these arbitrary lines that we draw around what is art and what is not fall apart under any scrutiny. And the reality is nobody knows, and we're all making it up.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
It's all subjective. We all have opinions.
Art is in some ways frivolous.
We also
and-
all have assholes. He has one, by the way. I found that out. I saw a picture.
And I do think though that there is something wrong with the classification of it, where like some people are dumb and don't get art, and some people aren't. I think that's problematic. So that's what I'm trying to indicate.
That's
Is that
fine.
these lines around what is and isn't art are just fully arbitrary, and everyone's making them up.
Y'all, I'm about to get up and go to bed.
No, you're good. I was literally getting ready to hit that in.
I'm not done yet.
You can keep having a conversation with yourself.
Chris,
I'm
can you
done.
just keep recording and I'll make my own points and counterpoints?
I tell you what, you record that and send it to me, and then I'll laugh about it.
You
Anyways,
want just an hour of me crazily rambling to myself?
God, I want Mandy to edit that though, because it'll be 8 seconds of Cody being like, "Wait, I dropped something. I'm an idiot," and she'll be like, "That's all that was salvageable from that hour and a half of lecture."
But anyways, if you guys have any kind of fucking things that you would like to add to our art conversation that we got off the rails with, go ahead. Put it in the comments below. Maybe Cody will actually interact in the comments at that point. Other than that, if you like the content for some weird goddamn reason and you want to hear more shit like that, like and subscribe. You know, I already said hit us in the comments. We have our links down below. Twitters, Twitches, hit those up too. Turn on notification, that way you get notified the next time we upload the fucking podcast episode or whatever, fucking the art project part 2. And then you can fucking jump in on that one too. But at the end of all this, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next time.
Bye.